This is Dan Tortora and a very special Dolphin Dive here on a very special, momentous day at LeMoyne College on the Heights with the Athletics Director, Bob Beretta. Bob, how are you?
I'm excellent today, Dan. How are you today?
Good. I'm used to being on the other side with you on
Yeah.
this camera, but you had the opportunity to speak, give your thoughts on this moment. What did you want in your speech to really hit home for everybody, either LeMoyne today, tomorrow, or those that are the alumni?
I'd say a deep sense of gratitude for being a part of this amazing team here at LeMoyne, that we're so open-minded to this, that we're so willing to explore, that we're so open to taking a significant step forward. I'm grateful for our student athletes to be open-minded in all of this. I'm so grateful to Noreen Morris, and Commissioner of the NEC, and her staff for extending this invitation, along with the Council of Presidents of the NEC, believing in LeMoyne, that we can do this. And I think that's what really excites me, is that we can do this. We know we can do this. I've known since I stepped foot on campus that we could do this if it was the right fit. And the fact that our leadership team coalesced at an unbelievable time, with President LeMoyne leading the way, and our VP team is amazing. Joe Grasso, our VP for Administration and Finance. You don't get here without an unbelievable team in place pulling in the same direction. And this leadership team that Dr. LeMoyne has put together is second to none. It's amazing. So I just wanted to convey my deep sense of gratitude and to let people know that we're ready. Like, we're ready for this step. LeMoyne is ready for the big time, and we've arrived.
And you talked about the financial side of things. You and I have discussed it before, and what you have to do to get there, to be D1. To kind of break it down for people to know, kind of numbers-wise and plan-wise, what needs to be done from here?
Yeah, I think that we just need to continue to invest wisely in certain areas, whether it's facilities or whether it's our budgets. And, again, a tribute to our leadership, we were going to make some investments regardless of whether we reclassified or not. So we have baseball dugouts that are being constructed and delivered this summer. That was going to happen whether we reclassified or not. We have a nice facility coming over at the turf field. It's concessions and restrooms that are really going to impact greatly the fan experience. That was going to happen regardless. We have a press box going over at softball in play regardless of whether reclassified. And we were also doing some other things that help support our students from a resource standpoint and how they travel and things. All that was going to take place regardless. But the fact is, now we are reclassifying, and we understand that there needs to be a higher level of investment. And that's where our leadership team, how we've all come together. And we built a 3-year plan now. We have sat down throughout the course of the fall and winter, and my staff, Tim Fenton, has done an amazing job in helping us navigate this. And we put together a 3-year modeling plan, a couple different models, I should say. And we have a 3-year plan right now that we're ready to execute, and that is talking about staffing levels, scholarship levels, some budget situations, and how we want to get from point A to point B. It's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to happen over the course of time, potentially in a 3-year period of time, but you're going to see some enhancements across the board in all of our sports from a staffing standpoint and from a resource standpoint.
What can you say about the level of coaching that you have already? These coaches that are in Division II shifting into Division I, the caliber of them and what they bring on and off the fields and courts?
Yeah, we have a Division I staff right now. I'm a firm believer in our staff. I love our coaches. We're in the midst of a volleyball head coaching search right now. Made some calls this morning, so hopefully we're going to rev that up now with the announcement, because I think it becomes a very different recruitment now with it's a D1. Not so much that we're looking for someone different, but I think it just becomes a little bit more appealing to candidates as a D1 institution. But I love our coaches. We have a D1 coaching staff right now in place. We'll evaluate every coach at the end of the season, as we always do, and we evaluate throughout the course of the year, not just throughout the course of the season. At the end of the year, I have constant dialogue with our head coaches and assistants, and I love our staff. I think our staff is poised for greatness. I think they prepare our student athletes. They align well with the mission of the institution. They know where athletics fits into the overall mission of this institution, and I think they're tremendous leaders of young men and young ladies. But most importantly, they're subject matter experts. They're elite coaches. They understand their sport through and through. There are subject matter experts on this campus, and they're tremendous leaders.
For you, to look at everything that's gone into this, what is your proudest moment on the Heights after seeing Noreen Morris, the NEC commissioner, come up here and say some words, putting on that hat for the NEC, being with Pete DeLora and Dr. Linda Lemira? What is the proudest moment?
Today was filled with proud moments. I think seeing Isaiah Salter at the podium today and listening to his words brought tears to my eyes, candidly, because he's an example of what intercollegiate athletics produces here on the Heights. That's the type of leader, that's the type of contributor to society. He's going to be an amazing leader wherever he decides to enter whatever professional field he's pursuing his MBA right now. That was my proudest moment, to just see him speak with a gleam in his eye, knowing what could be in his senior year, what lies ahead, the optimism. That was my proudest moment. That, and we just had an amazing turnout by the LeMoyne community today. To look up and see that room filled with standing room only capacity was prideful, because I think the community came together today for a common mission, and knowing that this is going to help raise all elements of the institution.
I spoke with Dr. Linda Lemira about the fact that you're already a part of the family of the Jesuit institutions, but there's so many of them that are Division I. To be the newest Division I Jesuit institution, what that means when you look across the country at, from the College of the Holy Cross to St. Joseph's to Gonzaga, there's so many schools, it's so many, the Loyolas and whatnot. I mean, selfishly, I want to see LeMoyne Gonzaga, but I mean, there's a lot to be said about Georgetown as well.
Yeah.
These schools that you now join in the Jesuit mission that continues, and the Division I that is new for LeMoyne.
Elite brands academically, elite brands athletically, and we were always associated with them, but a little bit different when you're a D2 school and they're D1 schools. But now we can lock arms, and who knows? Hopefully, we'll be able to arrange some competitions in different sports across that network of Jesuit schools. We're a proud member of the Jesuit Network, and now we're a proud member of Division I as well.
St. Bonaventure, Niagara, College, we talked about the College of the Holy Cross not too far away, Syracuse, there's Binghamton, Cornell, Colgate. How important is it for you, or what message do you want to send to the schools in New York State and the schools in the Northeast that, non-conference wise, you're open?
Yeah, Dan, I think that was really important throughout our discernment process. We wanted to not only consider the conference competition, but the non-conference inventory that now would be available at our disposal was really compelling. To be able to create rivalries with regional schools and elite brands, elite academic brands, elite athletic brands, and you touched on several: Colgate, Cornell, you have Canisius, Niagara, Buffalo,
yeah.
You have Bonaventure, and of course West Point about 3.5 hours down the road, and Syracuse 5 minutes down the road. But these are schools now that we can have conversations with. Just in the last 24 hours, I know, and just a small example, our coaches have had conversations about non-conference competitions in a variety of sports with schools such as Villanova, Penn State, Syracuse, Wisconsin. I can go on and on and on. And we couldn't have those conversations 48 hours ago, but we can have them now. And I think that elevates the brand. It elevates our profile, which is really important. And we talk about this all the time. It's really important with who you compete against. And for us to be able to compete against schools that we feel are aspirational academically or on the same level in terms of mission, really important to us. So it's an exciting day on the Heights. I think it serves so many different missions, and ultimately we're here to serve the mission of the institution. That's the ultimate value of athletics. We're here to serve the institution. The institution's not here to serve us, and I feel like we can leverage athletics in a way today, in a much greater way today than we could 48 hours ago.
34 years at Army West Point. How badly do you want Army to start having some games against LeMoyne?
I have great friendships down along the banks of the Hudson, and my former boss, Mike Buddy, who's the athletic director at West Point, texted me a note yesterday, and I got back to him last night and asked him, hey, do you see any Dolphin Black Knight matchups in the future? And he shot me back a quick text and hearted the text. So, we'll begin those dialogues. But I think it all talks about that experiential component. And I think if our student athletes here at LeMoyne have an opportunity to step foot on what I think is one of America's true treasures, West Point, that's a lifetime experience. So again, that's an opportunity that we now have for our student athletes that we didn't have earlier.
Final note, that phone call from Noreen, that invitation, bring me into that moment. Everyone that's watching and listening, let them be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, I feel like I was a fly on the wall, Dan. So we can talk a little bit more liberally about the process, but the NEC folks in Noreen came on campus in April, and about 11 days later, President Lemire and myself needed to make a presentation to the Council of Presidents via Zoom to the to the NEC presidents, and we made that presentation. It was about 20 minutes on Zoom, and we got off the Zoom and we just were talking to each other, exchanging notes, seeing how each other felt the meeting went, and I was still in her office when the call came from Commissioner Morris to extend an invitation, and I know she was a point guard during her collegiate playing days, but I can see how she was a force on the boards because she's got some ups now. And President Lemire jumped pretty high in the air to celebrate that invitation. So it was a fun moment. Shortly thereafter, I think several members of our leadership team came in, Team Lee and Joe Grasso and Father Pat Rogers. So it was an unbelievable moment. It's something that I will treasure and cherish the rest of my life. It was a significant moment in time for this college, a transformational moment in time, and to be able to share it with people that I respect so much, highlight of my career.